All right. Again, this is stress management. It's going to be an hour where we really dig a little bit deeper in understanding how our body reacts to stress so that we can learn how to flow with it more sustainably in our lives. All right. My name is Ilonka Sjak-Shie. I'm a life coach and facilitator. And the workshop is going to have two parts. We'll be looking at some knowledge, really expanding our knowledge in the first part. And then we're going to practice, because this stuff is not something you can just learn in your head. You know, you can, but it will not make a difference unless you actually absorb it and start doing something with it. All right, let's get started. So the best place to start is just to figure out for ourselves and ask ourselves, what is stress? All right, I want you to type in the chat, and I'm going to work on how I can see the chat in a second. If you think that stress is something positive, whether it's something negative, or whether it's both.
I can see that students are answering both.
Okay. Yeah. Can you help me out with that?
Yes.
Because I can't see the chat.
One student says, I think it's both. The majority are saying both.
Okay.
And a few are saying, let's see now, that maybe stress is a negative feeling. The negative, I see negative. A couple are saying negative. Few are saying negative, but the majority are saying both.
Okay. All right. That's good. That is actually how a lot of us feel. A lot of us, if you mention the word stress, we think, oh gosh, please no more. I have enough of that. So indeed, the ones that said negative is that a lot of times that's the experience we have. To those that said both, that's in fact is true. That is really there is something called healthy stress. That's what we kind of want to look at today. All right. So thank you for answering that. You're sharing that answer with us. So the thing is that stress is kind of difficult for us to define, because to each one of us, it's slightly different. All right. But that's why it's important. I went back to the original term, which was coined by Hans Selye all the way back in 1936. And he defined it as the non-specific response of the body to any demand for change. So non-specific, it can be different in every body. It shows up differently. And it could be due to any change, a demand for change. Now, the good thing about this original definition, as he had coined this idea of stress, is that it allows room to be both helpful and good, when it actually motivates us to accomplish more. And it can also leave room for stress being negative, when it actually has an adverse and a destructive effect on us. All right, so let's dig a little more deeper in that. And we'll look then at what's called the human function curve, which was developed by a British cardiologist, Dr. Peter Nixon, where he tried to illustrate the balance between good stress and bad stress. Okay? All right, so we'll have on the x-axis is stress going from 0 and getting more and more and more. Performers going from 0 and up and up and up. Okay? So the line that goes up in purple, that's the intended performance. And that is, we as human beings, our modern human life, we are kind of like the bunny, the energizer. We just want to keep going and going. And we think that we can just keep going and going. But that's actually not the way it turns out when you look at the stress levels that we are being surrounded with. All right? And if we look at the actual performance, we see that at a certain point, you see a hump happening. And up to that point, there's what we call healthy stress levels. So we're good. And then it all of a sudden shifts over and turns into unhealthy stress levels. And this is, of course, the part that we're going to be looking more into, so that you can actually learn to monitor yourself to see, okay, where am I? So that you can stay away from the unhealthy stress levels and stay in the healthy stress levels of your life. Okay? So if we look at performance then, if there's actually absolutely no zero stress, we're actually kind of in boredom because nothing gets us going out of bed, and so our performance is kind of really low, right? Now the stress level goes a little bit up. We're doing what we know. Things are going well. I already know this course and I'm good at it. And, I can drive my car. I don't have to think about it. It's nothing new. So I'm comfortable and I'm performing well, right? And then we go into stretching. We learn something new. And yes, maybe, when we get to do this new thing, we feel a little bit flutters in the stomach, or we're a little bit unsure, meaning the stress level, we actually feel it a little bit more. But it's not unhealthy because it just kind of stays and then it goes back to normal. So we're in a positive way, we're stretching ourselves, we're getting out of our comfort zone, learning something new, and learning and doing something new, perhaps public speaking. We all have our list of things that we go like, oh, do I really have to do that? That causes a level of stress in our body, but it's still healthy, okay? And then there's the hump, what they call the stress hump, all right? And it is at this point where our performance goes actually into strain. We start straining our body, okay? And if we keep going and the stress level just keeps churning up and we don't pay any attention to it, we actually can go into burnout, all right? Now let's see what's happening at a physical level and also at the emotional level. Physically, once we hit that bump or that hump, we start to get fatigued. Fatigue starts to get in, it's like we're sleeping and we wake up, we're still tired, So we have to do the caffeine thing to keep us going, right? That's a sign. We start getting fatigued. Fatigue goes into exhaustion, it's like almost walking around as a zombie, right? And that's when you get into ill health. Your actual health starts getting detrimental. Things get detrimental, and you get into breakdown. Now, emotionally, we see that anxiety in this stretch level. Yes, it's okay. We're being a little bit anxious because it's something new, something we don't know. But now in this level, when we're into the unhealthy part, the anxiety is getting excessive, right? We're constantly anxious, constantly on the watch. Okay, what's going to happen now? I feel tightness in my body. Starting to feel overwhelmed. It's too much. How am I going to deal with this? I wake up in the morning. First thing I think, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this and this and this and this to do. How am I going to do that? So you start to feel that overwhelm. We start to be distressed, and actually we become dysfunctional. All right. So this is not to scare us. This is just so that we can become more aware of, okay, I feel like I'm getting into the red zone where I'm getting into strain. So, okay, let me start paying attention so I can go back to the healthy stress levels, and at a certain point, hopefully be able to maintain your time most of the time here. Okay. All right. So nice curve, nice name. So what does it have to do with me, with you, us in our everyday life? That's an important question. All right. For that, let's go look at our modern society. And, the thing is, unlike yesterday's, when our parents were alive, or maybe their parents, it seems like stress has become kind of normal. It's like if you meet up with a friend, and they tell their story. Hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing great. Life is full of stress. This is happening, that is happening. And the other friend says, you think that is stressful? Let me tell you about my story. And it's all of a sudden like we've gotten into this, like, it's a good thing, and I'm like, almost, if I'm like relaxed, if I'm the third friend coming in and I feel kind of relaxed and happy, I almost don't want to share anything because I might feel like, this lonesome, crazy, different type of person, and I want to fit in, so it's becoming that stress is almost normal, it's like it hasn't been, that's the way things are. And that makes it more difficult for us. So where yesterday's reality, for our grandparents, where they actually had time and sat still, they went fishing, they went on the beach just for a walk. This is looks more of our reality these days. I don't know if anybody's been whitewater rafting, but if you're constantly fighting like a 360, okay, what's coming up there? This is here. When you think you got the left side, the right side wave is hitting you, and you're constantly tense, constantly looking and watching what's going on. How am I going to deal with this? That's, for many of us, has become our reality today. All right. So, to understand what this constant stress is doing to the human body, we have to go look on the inside. What's happening inside of us, all right? And particularly in our nervous system. Okay, so now we're going to do a little deeper dive to understand what is happening and how are we wired, all right? Okay, so our nervous systems has two dimensions. You have what's called the sympathetic dimension, and you have the parasympathetic dimension. All right? In the sympathetic dimension, that is our nervous system that helps us, they call it fight or flight. It helps us to respond when we're in times of emergencies. Either, somebody, we're walking along at night and somebody tries to attack us, we need to run, all right? So then our body needs to go survival. We need to get out of this dangerous situation and run. If we have an injury in our body, you don't hear it or you don't see it, but on the inside, the cells are not just going like, hey, hello. No, they're going like, alarm, alarm. There's a cut, we need to go fix it. They send all the white blood cells there so that they can put a scab on for you. The body has self-healing capacity, and it's constantly on the watch through your immune system to ward off, things that are not supposed to be in your body. Okay, that's the sympathetic nervous system, and it kicks in when your body's exposed to stress. Now, and then there's the parasympathetic nervous system, because we breathe, we digest our food, our heart beats. There's so many zillion things happening in our body in times that are just, rest and digest, to keep us going, to keep us healthy, and that is the parasympathetic nervous system, to keep us just running. All our daily organs are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're regenerating, So this is this nervous system that is actually, it kicks in, or it's present when we're at peace. Now, here's the thing. We think often that you would say, oh, Ilonka, and that sounds that fight or flight is bad guy, and parasympathetic, that's the good guy. That's what we need to be. And that's not quite the whole story. There's not really good and bad, because in fact we're a miracle the way that we are designed. Okay, so it's not about one being good and bad. It's more about the balance. All right. So that means that if it's perfectly fine, if not designed that way, that when we remain in a state of balance most of the time, and we only switch over to this fight and flight or sympathetic nervous system, we're good, because we go into it. It was designed that we go into the sympathetic, we ward off the attack, and we come right back to balance. And that's how it was designed. All right, so then you may ask me, Ilonka, so if that's the design, what's the problem then? What's going on? So for that, to answer that, let's go to a story. Let's go to the plains in Africa. So here, picture this, you have the giraffes and the wildebeest and the antelopes. They're all, at first imagine there was no lion walking there. So they were totally in the comfort zone, I don't think they were bored, but they were in the comfort zone, just kind of oozing around. And now this lion starts calmly walking. So they're probably getting on alert, they're going to the stretch thing. They're not totally stressed out yet, but their system is starting to see that there's something there that maybe shouldn't be there. All right. And then, the lion goes to an attack. And these antelopes just fly off because they now have to protect themselves. So their system goes straight into sympathetic, fight or flight. They need to make sure that they survive this attack. Right? Now, here's the beautiful part about nature. About 10 minutes after when this thing is done, the lion is cool. The antelope is totally cool. He's just kind of shook it out. And they actually these videos that show them shaking it off. And they're good again, all right? So somehow the shaking tells the nervous system, okay, the injury is over, the threat is over, we're good to go again. All right. Now, let's look at us, modern human beings. What are we doing? Or what's happening with us? Let's assume that we are the antelope, all right? We're in this beautiful setting, we're calm, and all of a sudden now comes this huge threat, stress happens, and we start running because we need to run for our lives, right? So, same thing that happened in nature. So here, everything is normal. Now, this is where things are different. We do not go back to normal, right? And what is highly alarming about that is that our body sends out stress hormones, which is no problem. Most of the three most dominant ones are the adrenaline, the cortisol, and the norepinephrine, right? And these stress hormones now put our body into fight and flight, right? That means physiologically, the blood in your brain here, it drops to your external, to the hands, to the feet, so you can run. Your immune system, when you're fighting or running for your life, your body's not interested in seeing, maybe this cell is not so happy, is a little bit tired, let's go see what we can do. That no, we're just trying to survive. So immune system, it's not turned off, but it goes down tremendously, all right? And that is not a problem because that's how we were designed. When we're at 10 minutes, we're being attacked by the lion, and then after the attack, we go back into rest and digest. Right? Now, for us modern humans, unfortunately, that's not what happens, because in our world, stress is not 10 minutes. It's chronic. It seems to be around here 24/7. I just gave you the example. You wake up and you start thinking about all the things to do. And it's 365, because if you don't have to take care of this one, take care of that one, people now with the COVID, it's even worse. How am I going to pay my bill? How am I going to do this? Those are all signals to the body that are stress signals, that it interprets as stress signals. Right? So, okay, so maybe you might ask yourself, but Ilonka, aren't you a little bit exaggerating? Yes, we know it's a lot, but is it really that chronic? Right? And why is it so chronic? Now, one reason I already explained to you, or we already shared, is that indeed we live in an environment compared to before, or before others that had more of the calm and they didn't have so many pressures on them. That's one thing. The other part digs a little bit deeper into the real story of what's happening, which is the good thing about, or actually the miracle about who we are, but it actually can work against us if we don't know how to flow with it. Now, because to your brain, there is no difference whether you are being attacked physically by that lion or if the threat is an emotional or mental. Okay? So Ilonka is in and say, okay, yeah, that sounds good. What do you mean? What do you mean with that? So let's give you an example. Here you have an emotional, a verbal, somebody is just, having it at you. He is screaming, you're being screamed at, blah, 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 you're no good, you all can fill in the story. So here you're actually having a emotional verbal attack. But to your brain, this verbal attack is actually no different than if your life was in danger. You know, like the lion. Your brain interprets it exactly the same. Okay. And it is the same for the one doing the attacking, this person that is just yelling at you, and the one receiving it. All right. Now go to your to children and other ones. It goes even further. I didn't put that on the slide, but the ones around you also get affected by this. Okay. So because your brain cannot tell the difference. That is the new research that we didn't know before, years before. This is the new research. Now we have all these scans where they can actually see what is happening in our brain, so that now we can learn how to better manage these things. Okay. So that was somebody yelling our heads off. Now let's just go to work or to the university, you know, and you have exam times, you know, all these, I think you guys still also have a special week where all these exams get done, or however it's done. These are like, ooh, all this stuff that I need to get done, right? Being swamped by all these deadlines, and everybody has to do them, okay? Now, same story as the slide before, your brain interprets the stress that you're feeling now at an emotional level the same as you were being physically attacked or in danger. Your brain cannot tell the difference, right? To your brain, it is exactly the same thing. So there where we were designed perfectly to be able to survive, now it couldn't realize, you know, going years into the future, that we would have so much of this emotional stress and this environment of stress around us, that our body interprets the same as if we are being attacked physically. Okay? And the thing is, remember what we said? We don't go back to normal as the lions and the antelopes do in nature. All right? And what that does, these critters that we just talked about, they stay with us. They stay in our body. Okay? And to put, you know, another layer on that, and I will come up with good news, but there is one more layer that we need to understand, is that our body it keeps score. And actually that is the most beautiful part of our body, but it can work against us if we don't realize it, all right? So what that means is that long after a traumatic experience is over, it may be reactivated at the slightest hint or trigger that the body remembers as it being dangerous. This is what a lot of, you know, sometimes they'll, soldiers or people that have had traumatic experiences, what they refer to as PTSD, that is on the scale, you know, on the more extreme scale. But something maybe, you know, something drops, and that may activate them or their body as a trigger that, oh my gosh, my body's in danger again. And we need to send all these chemicals. Right? And what research is actually showing is that people that have experienced trauma in their lives, it actually physiologically, meaning biologically, changes our brain, right? Where our brain becomes so much more sensitive to these stress hormones. So where a person that had less or no trauma would not be reacting, somebody whose body has already been exposed to a level of trauma knows better how to watch out for it. And because your body is out there to protect you. Okay? Now, I promise you I'll come up with the good news. It doesn't matter which scale where you are. If we're from the side of actually having no stress, which I'm not sure if any of us have that privilege these days, but whether we're in regular stress or we actually have experienced any level of trauma in our lives, they have also found now in the latest science that we can retrain our brain, right? And that is the most powerful news and research findings that is available to us as modern human beings. All right. So by retraining our brain, it means we're retraining our nervous system, to better withstand stress and hard times. And what they call that developing resilience. So they'll say, okay, I am becoming a more resilient human being. I am, the evidence is now showing that with practice, any one of us, doesn't matter if we're on the low end of stress or on the high end, if we've been traumatized or not, or whatever scale there, we all can learn to become more resilient. But it does take practice. That's why I said there's going to be two parts. We're going to be expanding our knowledge, and then we're also going to be actually practicing. Okay? All right. There's a little note of caution because there is no one size fits all. So anybody that tells you, okay, you must do A, B, C, and that will help you become a more resilient person, it doesn't work that way because we're all different. We all come with a different background. We all react differently. We're all wired in big parts the same, but in detail, we're all different, because we all have different genes. Now, the good thing is you can develop it, but you must develop it by disciplined practice. Not just practice, that you do one day, you do it, maybe for a week, every day you're doing your stuff, and then, now I'm too busy, okay. And then a month from now, you remember again. It may help you a little bit, but it won't help you to become a really resilient person where you can be more stable in terms of what's happening on the inside of you, okay? So it's also important that you try different techniques to see what works for you, right? Because what may work for me, maybe it will work for you, but not as well as it does for me, right? So it's good to try different things and then start learning to pay attention to see how is my body reacting to this. And when you see that you're becoming calmer, you're more peaceful, you're not as anxious, those are good signs. All right. So even though it may not be working for your neighbor, it's working for you. So you keep doing it. Okay. All right. So we're gonna get to the practice session. I'm gonna watch my watch. Aha, perfect time. We're right in the middle. So we're heading into practice session now. So in a minute, you don't have to do it right now, but get ready. I'm going to ask you in a minute to turn on your cameras. But before we get there, we're going to do two exercises. And one is called the seaweed at the bottom of the ocean. We're actually going to, in a minute, I'm going to ask everyone, we're going to get up and we're going to go through it together. All right. So in the seaweed at the bottom, we're just gonna look and imagine ourselves as if we are a kelp or a seaweed, and we're in the bottom of the ocean floor, right? And at a certain point, I'm gonna ask you to hum, and even though it might sound crazy and weird, I'm gonna invite you to still do it because there's a reason for that. Right? And I'll explain as we go to it, I'll explain what that helps to do. Right? So that'll be the first. And these two exercises, I do them one before the other. I do them together. Why? The second one is a meditation where I'll give you the name in a second. But see, we don't realize how tight we keep our muscles. And tightness in our muscles in our body to your brain is interpreted as stress, right? For example, sometimes I don't even realize I'm working on a deadline. I'm perfectly safe. Nothing is going, I have calm music. It's cool. I have plans looking. And here I am sitting at my little computer and, okay, gotta do this, gotta do that. Okay, this, that. And I don't realize, I look at myself and like, why are you all tensing up? What's going on? What are you doing? We don't realize it. It has become such second nature that we hardly realize that we're, our bodies are not relaxed. We're constantly ready for the next thing and the next thing. And our bodies are much, much tighter than they actually should and could be when we're in a natural state of being. Okay? All right, and then the second exercise we'll do is called the heart-brain coherence meditation. And we literally do that. You know, if there's evidence, we're not going to go through all the research evidence, but this is actually evidence-based. It is developed by the Heart Math Institute, and I adapt it slightly, which is, again, what I invite you to do also. Anything I learn, and anything I teach you, or anything somebody else teaches you, always, you know, you take it in and then see how it resonates with you, and then allow yourself to adapt it as you go along. Okay, so you don't have to do it exactly as Ilonka said or exactly as somebody else said. You have to learn to listen to your body and see what works for you. So I adapted it slightly, but the principles are the same. And it actually helps. They found that a lot of us, due to the stress, that this small connection of 18 inches, there's communication going on. And we always thought that the brain was the mother lode of our body. That it's like the dirigent, you know, it has the little stick and it tells everybody what to do. Now the research shows it's actually the heart. The heart is sending off magnetic waves and chemicals to the brain, and then the brain responds. So they found that when there's harmonious communication between the head and the heart, or the brain and the heart, then we are much healthier. Our stress levels are down, and we can actually learn. They call it coherence. You know, it's more harmonious, it's balanced. It's called coherence. And this meditation, very simple, can actually help you to do that. All right. So now we're gonna practice. Now I'm gonna stop sharing, and then I'm gonna wave at everybody. Yes. All right, so I'm going to ask everybody to get up. Resilience, it is very important that you create what's called a tribe. And most of you know that's why we have friends, because we don't live alone, you know, and when we connect with other people, that's what we're practicing here, you know, it helps you to become more resilient, because you know somebody's got your back. You're not alone in this. All right. So we're practicing everything we're learning. Okay. All right. So now, like I said, imagine we're at the ocean, the bottom of the ocean. All right. And we're a seaweed, we're a kelp. And I want you to get up on your toes and just kind of back on your heels. Just because we need to root ourselves deeply, because you know how the ocean can get, it can get wild, and we don't want to be plucked out and sent off to some shore on Aruba. No, we want to stay on the bottom of the ocean. All right, so go on the top of your toes and just bounce. Now, remember when I said I want you to start noticing what your body does? Look at your arms and see what they're doing. Are they stiff? You know, am I controlling? How am I holding it up? Because a lot of times, without knowing it, we're keeping our body stiff. And because we think we need to be in control, whereas our body knows exactly what to do. So see if your arms are just kind of dangling. You know, I see somebody, their arms are here or here. No, it's not bad, but just for now, let it dangle. Let go of control. Yes, 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 yes. I see you guys doing that. See that you're not controlling anything. You're actually just relaxing. Okay, now we're going to become a seaweed again. So we're bouncing, making sure that our roots are well into the ocean. And then once we've done that, we start noticing and we feel the water around us, and our body or plant or leaves are starting to go to and fro with the water. We are fully trusting that the water will keep us afloat. We're not going to just sag down to the bottom of the floor. No, the water holds us up, and we go back and forth with the water and flow. Yes. And then all of a sudden we start feeling this vibration. And yeah, we can kind of look, we're very special kelps, very special seed. And we see, or maybe there's little fish that are our friends, and they tell us that there's a school of dolphins coming by, and they're humming. And we feel the resonance. So what I want you to do, just put your left or your right hand, doesn't matter which, put it on your throat. And then we're gonna, because that vibration hits us, and so we're gonna also hum. You know, our leaves give all this vibration. Yes, I hear humming. It's a beautiful humming of dolphins, and our bodies keep going to and fro. We let go. We're not in control. We're trusting life. We're trusting our body that they're smart. It's smart. Yes. Yes. Okay. We let our hands down again. And then all of a sudden, you know what happens in the ocean? There's these big waves, and it's coming, and we're going back and forth a little bit. Oh, you know, it's a little bit uncontrollably. I'm feeling a little bit stressed, but you know what? Oh, my feet are, I'm going to bounce on my feet again a little bit to make sure, you know, that I'm well rooted, that I don't get plucked away. And there I am, and I can once again, yes, go to and fro with the water. Okay? And we're almost there. Trust me, not too long anymore. And all of a sudden, this big shark comes by, whoosh, you know? And we're like, whoosh, what just happened here? Oh, you know, we're in stress mode. It's gone. We're here. We check our roots again, shake it off. And there we go back, going back and forth with the ocean floor, feeling normal. Back and forth, allowing the body to be relaxed. We don't have to be in control. We don't always have to be the one thinking that we have to orchestrate everything. We can trust ourselves and our lives that things are turning out okay. You know, yes, okay. And now we're going to come back to our life here, back in the session. And I would like you to share with me in the chat and say, how did it feel to be a kelp, a seaweed at the bottom of the ocean? How did you feel? You know, you can say one word, but share in the chat. How did you feel? What came up? I'm still like flowing. How did you feel? One word, 1, 2 words, short sentence. How did you feel? Okay, a bit awkward at first, but pretty good after. Okay, this stuff, it is getting used to, you know, especially if we haven't done this much, and especially if you think that there's 100 people watching you. That can be stressful. You know, it was calming. Okay, it was calming. A little dizzy, but it felt nice. Okay. Sometimes the body has to adjust, because remember we said we're so used to the stress that when we get to calm, it may feel weird. Okay, all right, let's see what more. Stephanie said she was a little bit dizzy. Okay, good. Aloy said muscles relaxed. Okay, all right, very nice, very nice. So anybody else? You say relax, good. Some dizziness, but it felt nice. I saw one more message, a little bit weird, but in a good way. Yes, remember this is now. Remember that human performance curve, or the human functioning curve. We kind of went from the comfort zone, and then we went into the stretch. Huh? But we said there, we're still in healthy stretch, because we're not, you know, I didn't let you do it for an hour, and I didn't expose you all the way. So it was just stretching a little bit out of your comfort zone, and then we're back. During the humming, I barely noticed I was moving. Yay! Okay, wonderful. That means you allowed your body to be. You allowed yourself to be. You didn't have to be at 24/7 constant watch to see what's going on. You know, you gave your body and yourself a break. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys for sharing that. That is really helpful for all of us because like I said before, the research also shows that one of the easiest things, or not the easy, but one of the important things of building, of becoming more resilient is, I think I have another message, no, is actually having a tribe of your own. People that you know you can trust, people that you know have your back, that you can go and say, you know what, wow, I am kind of, you know, in a bad spot, you know, I need somebody to talk to, you know, do you have an ear for me? You know, can you listen to me? You know, that is very important because the thing is, we're not alone. Even the best of us deal with stress also, you know, and it's just, it's a part of life where we learn better and better how to deal with stress in better ways so that we stay more on the healthy side and less on the unhealthy side. All right.
Ilonka?
Yes.
Oh, Ilonka, there's just one comment I think you missed from Jerwin that says, I had a headache and now it's gone.
Oh, wonderful. I'm the last one is left for the best one is left for last. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing the Jerwin. This is exactly because a lot of the, you know, headaches is tension in our body. Tension in our head. Not always, because you have some other things, you have really like migraines stuff, but you can, you know, starting to relax the body and starting to minimize or to learn to be more in that rest and digest nervous system will help you physically. You'll feel physically better. So I'm so grateful for that you feel better now that it's gone, and I'm really thankful that you shared it with us. Okay, let's go to the second exercise. For this one, you can remain sitting. And remember what I said, for me personally, I have learned, for me, it's work because I used to do the heart-brain coherence, just like that, boom. But I realized now, look, when COVID happened, it has brought the stress level, wherever the stress level was for you, for most of us, it's done this, boom, you know? So there, for those that we thought, oh, we're pretty resilient, we're pretty good, we're handling it. You know, like I said, even the best of us, we have had to dig deeper because there's so much coming at us. So I learned actually in these last months that just doing the heart-brain coherence, as I was starting it, my body was too tense, you know? So it's like, yeah, you know, I can do it technically, but it wasn't making a difference as I know it can. So this has helped me to do, I don't do the kelp thing, you know, I don't imagine myself as a kelp anymore because I just feel like a kelp when I do it. You know, I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I do. I just kind of relax. You know, learn the body to just be, you know, and trust that you're not going to fall over. It knows how to hold you up. Right? Okay, so with the heart brain, what we're going to do is we're going to, our left hand, we're going to put it on our heart, right? Like I said, you don't, it's slightly adapted from heart brain, Heart Math Institute. There, you don't have to put your hand on your heart. And I put my right hand on my stomach, on my tummy. It is not required, but what they found is that our attention goes to where we touch. You know, we as human beings we're you know, it's touch is very important. When you hold a baby, it has an effect. Babies that have not been held have emotional issues throughout their whole life. So where you touch, your brain automatically goes there. So that's why it's helpful. Helpful, not required to put your hand on your heart. So we'll put our hands here and we'll put our right hand on our stomach. All right? And then you can close your eyes if you want. You don't have to. And we're just gonna just start by beginning breathing slowly, just paying attention to your breathing in and then slowly out. and then in, and then slowly out. I'm going to add some things as we go. The first thing we're going to add is I want you to smile. Remember that smile? I want you to put a soft smile on your face. Say in and out. Okay? And what a smile does, this is what HeartMath does different. HeartMath asks you to visualize a happy place and to go there. I found that it's easier for me to go to a happy place when I smile. The moment I smile, I feel happy, right? And sometimes you'll be transported to your favorite place. Maybe you're on the beach, maybe you're, in a hammock, just relaxing. It doesn't matter, but you don't have to visualize. Just the fact of you putting a smile on your face tells your brain, she's good. So I'm chatting, but you breathe in and breathe out. Okay. And then notice that you put a lip, when you breathe in, breathe into your heart, which is on your left. Breathe into your heart. And when you breathe out, breathe into your belly a little bit more. It doesn't have to be extreme, just that little nuance. So breathe into our hearts and breathe out in our belly. Rhythmically breathe into our hearts and keep that smile on your face and breathe out on your belly. We've become so serious. Our lives have taught us that when we grow up, then we have to be serious. We don't laugh as much anymore. But it's important. They found out now that it's extremely important. It helps our body, that we are joyful, and even if what's happening around us may not be joyful, we can choose to put a smile on our face, breathe into our heart, breathe out in our bellies, and just know and trust that things are fine. Things will work out for the better, and just relax. All right, and you kind of feel, that's why I love doing the exercise, where you kind of feel like that seaweed. All right, let's do on your own pace. Let's do 3 sets of breaths at your own pace. Now I'm going to be quiet. All right. All right, and when you feel calm, you can let your hands go and just kind of become the kelp just for a second again and relax the body, and then when you're ready, you open your eyes and come back to here and now together with each other. All right. Okay. We're going to do the same thing. If you could share with me in the chat, either one word or a few words, very short. How did you feel when you were going through this? Thierry felt at peace. Devon felt absent-minded. Samantha felt relaxing. JD was more relaxed. Mikey was a little bit sleepy. That's good. That's your body telling you, Mikey, that Mike, I need some sleep. Please listen to me. You fell asleep. Very good. Thank you. Great that you said. Okay. At first, it was kind of hard for me to keep smiling, but then it got easier. I felt really relaxed. I felt almost went to sleep. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That is true. It may be difficult, because a lot of times we get so serious, and we forget to smile. But the more we do it, it becomes second nature to us. And the good thing is now that you know that simple smile puts your brain in it's doing a little dance, and instead of sending those, those stress hormone, it's sending the happy hormones, the happy chemicals in your body. Okay, Shivani.
Ilonka,
Yes.
you missed one from
Yeah,
Aura that says, I realized how much air there is.
Yes, yeah. I missed a lot because I was chatting. Let me go back. Okay. Thank you, Juliet, for reminding me. So, okay, so Shivani said she felt calm. Chan felt relaxed. German said, my stress levels normally are intense, but doing this exercise made me realize that I need to think more on the happier little things. Whoa. John said, oh, I didn't see that. John said, whoa. Awesome. So beautiful. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. Remember, what you say, what you share from your heart, you don't know what effect that has on somebody else. You may have just made somebody else smile, or maybe set them out of prison, from, okay, I can do this too, right? Awesome. Thank you all for sharing that. I want to really thank all of you for being here, for not only being here, but actually participating, being a CAL, doing the exercises, and really, interacting through here, because remember, it's not just for you, you're actually helping each other and strengthening each other. All right? So I'm going to give let's everybody do a big wave and say bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.